I guess maybe just talk about what you saw on Saturday. I mean, yardage numbers, rushing in particular, and time of possession numbers were good. Third and fourth down conversion was not good, and turnovers, I guess, as well. Just tell me your general summary of what you saw.
I think you already summed it up, man. Why ask me that question? You sum it all up, then you ask me the question.
Need you to sum it up.
It was definitely a disappointing day for us. We came out and that was our formula, was to possess the football. But at the same time, when we possess the football and don't score points, it's not part of the plan. Again, we shot ourselves in the foot situations, but again, it's first game. Hopefully, get those things out of the way, and we can push forward and move on to getting those things fixed. Obviously, getting in the red zone and coming up with only one touchdown is definitely not. It's not our way of life around here, so we got to get that fixed.
Yeah, I was talking to Keenan Reynolds, and he said that his senior year they're like 98% in the red zone. Can you talk about what happened in the red zone? Obviously, Ty threw a pick on an ill-advised pass. That was one issue, but what did you see as causing the offense to stall in the red zone on the other four opportunities? I guess three opportunities it would have been because you're 1 for 5.
Well, it's a combination of a few things. I never want to, make excuses about anything. But yes, the interception definitely was a bad decision. Assignments. We made a mistake in our blocking, turned some guys loose. So, our philosophy is always to stay on track as far as down and distance. When we turn guys loose, it doesn't help. So again, those things that we can fix. Obviously, we're going to address all those things this week and come out and play better this weekend.
Can you talk about complementary football? Because exactly. I think there's a lot there from Saturday. If you guys score points, you're getting your defense, you're helping them and you're also firing them up. When they get a turnover and you turn it into points, you're firing them up and exciting them. But when you get a turnover and then have to punt, it deflates. Can you just talk about the complementary nature of football?
Exactly. And that's always been, all my years here, that we've been pretty good at, on either side. There's been days that we struggled on offense and our defense showed up for us and then vice versa. But Saturday was definitely one of those games that we needed to play solid complementary football, and we didn't do it. Now, one thing, again, you take care of the football and you possess the football, but you don't score any points. So it's tough on our defense, when we're hanging to the football, but we're not scoring any points. So the complementary part, we didn't do our part. So again, we have to get that fixed. There's no time to waste. Need to get it quick, fixed fast, and that's our plan.
And then last, before I pass it on to someone else, and I know Kareem will probably be asking this question, so I'll preempt him, but maybe give us an evaluation of both quarterbacks, what you saw good, what you saw bad. But, Ty had some nice, he was as advertised, running between the tackles, had some nice, 4 or 5 yard runs, forward lean. But he, in the passing game, he seemed a little hesitant. And then, obviously Xavier came in and showed his slashing ability and broke a couple double-digit gains. And Xavier said after the game that he thought the game experience really came into play on Saturday that he got last year. He felt more comfortable and more confident. So maybe assess the play of the two quarterbacks.
That's a definite plus for him. He played some really big games for us last year. But going into the football game, the plan was to play them both. I think Ty did some really good things. He showed his physicality by running. He was a little indecisive in the passing game. That's something that we talked about all camp long. We have certain progressions on our reads. The very first play of the game, he to me, he panicked, and we talked about that. So the plan was to be smooth. First play of the game, not the first play of the game, but the first pass during the game, we kind of got rattled a little bit, but settled down. And then the interception just came down to it was just a bad decision. I think the kid played well. He played physical. He made some really, really good reads. So I'm very excited about how he played, minus the turnover. Xavier came in and sped everything up for us, made some really, really good checks and good reads, and also showed us his dynamic running ability. So again, we have two guys that I think can help us win football games. At the same time, once we get in the red zone, we got to do our part. So the pieces are there. Now we just got to put it all together. And when we get our butts in the red zone, we got to cash in.
Scott Wyckoff.
Coach, what does it mean for you to have this opportunity to be coaching on this 20th anniversary of 9/11 when the nation honors those who are lost and the families that are impacted, and being able to coach at the Naval Academy on a day like that?
Well, I've always said it's been a blessing to coach here, first and foremost, for this long, but also to, I knew where I was on that day. I was at Georgia Southern when it all happened. Again, it's unbelievable, devastating day for our country. But a lot of kids that we've recruited here over the years are the same kids that stepped up, and say, you know what, I want to join the military. I'm never going to question it. It's going to be a part of what I want to do. They made a decision to defend our country. So it's always been, for me, a personal coaching here with these guys. I love these kids. It's a big part of why I made a decision to stay here. Again, being a coordinator wasn't a big part of it because I love these kids. I love coaching here. I love this atmosphere. They give you everything they got. So coaching on Saturday, again, on a very, very, tough day in our nation's history, is going to be special. And we want to go out and compete against another service academy. Again, when the game's over, we're all brothers, but when we play, we want to win this football game. So again, great opportunity. I'm just thankful to be a part of it and blessed.
Wax was right. I do have one more QB question. I was just curious. Was Ty able to practice? When we talked to Ken, it was still up in the air if he was going to go or not.
No, it's still up in the air. Hopefully we can get him out there today. But shooting for tomorrow to get him out there. He's walking around and he feels good. And again, I'm just happy that we have two guys that played decent football. Again, decision-making wise, the interception, but up until that point, I think they both show that they have the keys, the tools, and the keys to run this offense. So I'm excited about that, and hopefully get them out there tomorrow and get ready for this weekend.
And actually, just one more for me. I'm just curious, what did you like most from last game? We've touched on a lot of the things that didn't work well, but I'm curious, out of everything that went probably something wrong moving the ball, but what did you like the most from Saturday?
Just our execution at times was what we've been working on and what we've focused all camp, to go out and execute, play sound football. Now outside the interception, the ball was not on the ground. We had no center QB exchanges. We had no fumbles. We took care of the football from a standpoint of again, we're a heavy run football team, so not putting the football on the ground was a definite plus. No center QB exchanges. So again, there's a lot of positives outside of, again, of the game. Again, tough day for us, scoring points, but we showed that we can move the football. Now we just got to put everything together. When we get in the red zone again, it's money time for us. We got to cash in when we get in the red zone. So, and that's our plan from here on out. We have to get better at it.
Historically, the past few times Air Force has come to Navy Marine Corps, the offense has done really well, scoring points. Just why is that? What is it about Air Force coming here to Annapolis that has done well for the team?
In any big rivalry game, when you play at home, it's just different. You don't have to travel. You're more relaxed. It's just a more secure feeling when you're at home. And quite honestly, we just play well at home. We just play well at home, and we've gotten after this past few years. Now they've been, tough games that come down to the wire, and luckily for us, we find a way to win the games. So just playing at home in front of our crowd, having really good plans in, so our kids can play fast and our kids go out and execute it. So those are all the ingredients of being able to play at home and being able to play well.
Ivin, you've been doing this a long time, and when you have a stretch, obviously last year was what it was, but little things like, having a quarterback throw a two-hand chest pass for a pitch out to his left, the little detailed things that you almost get spoiled with, because many of the other quarterbacks, the over hundreds that you've tutored now within this system, have been able to do those things. How much do you have to kind of take that deep breath and trust what you've done, because it's usually worked 95% of the time with most of those pupils, and just continue to work with those guys and have the patience necessary until they master it, because you got a lot of young guys with inexperience that are playing that position, which is something that really hadn't happened around here a lot.
Again, far as from a coaching standpoint, all your experience as a head coach, and even being a parent comes into play, man. It's all about being patient. I've coached these guys for a very, very long time, and this is a pretty good group I have. It's a pretty good group. They're eager, they're hardworking young men. They want to move. They want to run this offense. They want to be the general. They want to have the keys to the castle. So you just got to be patient and continue to work with these guys and continue to empower them, to give them confidence. Again, I'm not a big yell guy, scream, nothing like that. I always try to stay calm, and coach them the way I want them to play, ice water in their veins. So again, as far as Xavier with his left hand, I mean, we've talked about that all camp long. I thought he was copying another kid that did that a couple of years ago. I'm not gonna say his name. Haven't been allowed to say that, So, but I think he's copying that kid. But again, we've addressed it, and we worked on it, and it'll get fixed.
I know on the surface 49-7 says one thing, but 41 minutes of time of possession, over 300 yards. I mean, if we tell you ahead of time you're going to get that every game, that's essentially what you all would love to dial up. As you look at how you achieve that, now that you've had a chance to go back and look at the tape from a critical aspect, how did you achieve that? Because certainly if you can do that weeks going forward, that's usually going to present much better results.
No, honestly, the tough thing about it is to look at that 41 minutes of possession time, and 300-some yards of rushing, and we only have 7 points to show for it. So I sat back and thought about it, and we got there yesterday to go through our walkthrough. I called the offensive guys and said, guys, listen here. I said, all camp long, we talked about consistency. I said, to have those possess the football for that long a time and to rush for that many yards, that's who we are. That's our formula. But we always talk about what? Finishing. And we didn't finish. So that's the one part that we have to understand when we get in the red zone. And we do a red zone drill every single day. When we get in the red zone, we have to dial in even more during the game. Obviously, during the game, you want to be dialed in. You want to make sure that, your ears are up, your antennas are up. But when you get in the red zone, it's even becomes more detailed where you're doing everything right. We can't, because that's the goal of this game is to score points in the other team, right? So when we get down there, we got to score points, and when we got down there, we had a few mental mistakes, that cost us points, so they understand that. I told them, said, guys, we're a good offense. We show that we can move the football. Now we just have to learn when we get down there, we have to cash in. So as a staff, we got to get, maybe change some things up when we get down there, do something different in practice to get those kids to understand when we get in the red zone, we have to come with the points. And we've been pretty good at it. We just gotta punch it in.
I know it's kind of cliche, but momentum plays can be very, very positive and enhance you. But at the same time, they can also be a negative if you don't make them. Is it as simple as something like if Coop makes that catch on 4th down, which, the play's wide open, you call the perfect play, it's there. And that's a guy 99% of the time, is going to catch that football. Is a play like that something when it goes for you, it makes everybody euphoric, but at the same time, you see a little bit of the air come out of the balloon a little bit on a play like that because you dial everything up perfectly, and a guy that's going to catch that ball 9 times out of 10 unfortunately puts it on the carpet?
Well, we discuss as a staff every Thursday before a game, myself and Coach Newberry, kind of give our keys to the game. And I think one of my main keys was for us to get off to a great start. I thought it was of the utmost importance for this group, not a lot of experienced guys, to get off to a great start. And for that to happen on that 4th down, because again, it's a 4th down, it's a 4th down play for that to happen. Definitely. I mean, it kind of went up our sails a little bit. If you make that catch, does Coop score? Who knows? But I think it gets us in the red zone even further. And if we punch that in, it's a different ball game. So, it's never want to make a living on woulda, coulda, shouldas and stuff like that, but I do believe if we can make that catch and convert that play, it'll get our guys going. But, it didn't happen. And it's part of the game, but we have to learn to play through that and to be able to rebound, things like that, and be able to keep things going.
I know you use 3 guys, but to get 92 plays on tape from week 1 to week 2, how does that help you evaluate players as much as you can going into week 2? Exactly.
We probably average around 70 plays, maybe 75, but to get 93 plays for us is the last time we did that was, I believe, get that many plays was Air Force, I think 2011, I believe. And we got
That's
105.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct.
105 plays. So they have those many plays to have on film, to grade guys from, even the young guys who got in, able to get the experience. Now the situation for them getting in was not what you want. You want to be able to win a game and play a lot of guys, but to be getting beat, definitely it's not a good thing. But to get that experience, to get that film to grade guys from is definitely help. And again, that's early on in the season. I do recall we started off a season like this before, where we got beat pretty good early on, but we found a way to keep grinding. So we're not, we're not worried about it right now. Okay, move on to the next one. That game is over and behind us. We got to get ready for Air Force.
Finally, what'd you think of your B backs on Saturday?
I think they ran hard. They're very, very physical. Again, I think James came in and gave us a big time spark. And made some really, really good runs. Now we don't have anybody that can take it the distance, but again, we want to be that grinded out team, 5 yards here, 6, 7 yards there, that's going to be who we are. That's going to be who we are. So now what else plays into that is being able to be consistent and do things right every single play, but we've done that for years, and it's not nothing new to us. We just got to keep grinding. I think both those guys showed up for us and did some good things for us.
Great. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, my man.
Got 2 more minutes until Coach Newberry joins us. He's actually already here, but we got 2 minutes with Ivin. Let's go around the horn one more time. Wags.
Well, yeah, 2 quick questions. Can you kind of give an evaluation of the offensive line? Obviously, the rushing yardage would speak well to their blocking, but the 8 sacks, maybe not, but I'm not sure how many of those sacks you put on the quarterback. And the other question on following that is Ty's drop back. It seemed just a little too short. I don't know if that was by design, but it seemed like he didn't drop back as far as you normally have your quarterback drop back.
I think up front, the guys competed. They played hard. They played fast. And again, we're going to continue to build on that as the season goes on. They competed their butts off. They were pretty good on the D-line. Some good size guys. Our guys came off and they strained their bodies and they fought hard. And that was one thing that we did stress with Ty. First game jitters. He thought he was getting depth, but he wasn't getting depth at all. So, and that's on him. That's on him. Obviously it comes to me as well. And we've talked about that. Again, in his mind, he was getting back deep enough, but again, he was right on top of our O-line, trying to make a pass. So definitely address that. We got to get better at that. But I think the O-line competed. They played hard, and that's something to build on.
I guess just give us your assessment of what happened Saturday. Coach Nehemiah told us during the post game that the plan was to drop into coverage early and kind of assess what they were doing before you started making decisions about how you wanted to pressure all that, which kind of makes sense. But obviously they got after you early, and that, by the time you started bringing some pressure, which Mikey McMorris getting home and causing a fumble, there were some good things once you started pressuring, but by then you're a little behind.
Yeah, I kind of went back and forth on my approach coming out, and hindsight's always 20/20. You always wish there was something you would have done with the game plan. In hindsight, I would have done a little bit more of the play coverage initially, and just make them earn everything that they got. Obviously gave up. The thing that we talk about around here is stopping the run, making people one-dimensional, and then controlling the pass. You're not going to stop the passing game, but you can certainly control giving up big plays. Understanding parts of the field that maybe you're giving up to take away something else. But we didn't do that, obviously. And so there was, I think, 8 plays over 20 yards in the pass game. And so that just doesn't get it done. And so in retrospect, yeah, I wish I would have played coverage, kept everything in front of us, made them earn everything that they gotten and get them in some more third and longer type situations, and then got into the pressure stuff. But we weren't able to do that. Really disappointed. I thought we were ready. There's no excuses from our end to perform the way that we did. I think it's on me to get our guys ready. I thought we were hesitant. We played on our heels most of the game. I thought, we talked to our guys about playing with emotion, but not letting emotion play with us. I thought the moment got us a little bit. I thought the emotions played with us and we didn't play with it, if that makes sense. And just didn't look like a Navy defense to me. We talked about that yesterday, and we just, the elite effort, the fanatical effort that we talk about, didn't see that on Saturday. And that kind of effort is what's going to win us games around here. That kind of effort is what can sometimes overshadow a mistake here or there, or a missed tackle here or there. And didn't feel like we got it. I think our players would agree with that. So that's on me to get that corrected and remedied, and I will moving forward. The encouraging thing for me is that everything that happened on Saturday is correctable. It wasn't an issue where we had major deficiencies or where we got pushed around. That wasn't the case. There was a lot of coverage breakdowns. Whatever they got in the run game, we gave it to them. It was just not fitting things right. It wasn't getting pushed around or getting our tails blocked off or anything like that. Just some things that we did in the game that, mistakes that we made that we didn't make during the week of practice. And sometimes you show them stuff during the week and you see a lot of different things on Saturday, especially in the opener. But what we showed them was right on point. I mean, what we showed them in practice, the exception of a couple of route concepts, was what we saw. And so felt like we were prepared. Just didn't feel like we went out and executed. And I thought we played hard, and we probably harder than most, but that's not good enough around here, and our guys know that. So we've got to play with a different level of effort, and obviously a different level of execution. We always tell them the team that plays the hardest and makes the fewest mistakes is going to win the game. And didn't think that our effort far outweighed theirs enough to compensate, and we didn't execute. Made too many mistakes.
Well, I was just going to ask you, I mean, how much is just getting out athleted as far as the coverage? I mean, those two receivers, Gamage and Heaton, could go. I mean, those were fast, quick receivers. You're not going to cover them all day.
Yeah, no, I give a lot of credit to Marshall and their players. They're a really talented group. Quarterback's a really good player. He's gotten better from his freshman year. You can tell he's more comfortable back there. And there were times where we rushed forward and didn't get pressure, Bill. And at some point that, your coverage is going to break down when there's really good athletes. And that was surely the case. And he made some really nice throws when we were covering things up pretty decent, and good quarterbacks do that. But there were some things that we didn't fit correctly in the coverage piece in the back end. We should have had a guy in a spot, and we didn't. We should have had a guy carrying a vertical route, and he wasn't. And the list goes on. There's a lot of responsibility to be passed around. But I take full responsibility for it. The adjustments and the plan I had during the game, probably not the best thing for us to do. And I wish I could do it over, but I can't. And so I gotta eat that. And but there's plenty to learn from, a lot to build off of, I think. And like I said, the encouraging thing is that all those things are correctable. You hate to lose a game, especially the way that we did. And it didn't have to be as bad as it was. Marshall's not 42 points better than us. I think we played that game again, it'd be a very different deal. But unfortunately, we can't do that. So all we can do is, get back to work and try to get better and correct the things that we can correct. And we got to play with more passion and energy and not on our heels and with that fanatical effort that we talk about playing with.
And about you could have gotten your get six with turnovers alone if you'd been able to recover some fumbles. I think of the Mikey hit, that's deep in Marshall territory. If you recover that, you're putting your team in red zone almost right away. I think 3 fumbles that were not recovered. Is that correct?
Yes.
You talk about that? I
think so, 2 or 3. Yeah.
3.
That was one of the encouraging things I thought, Bill, is you saw us getting our hands on a lot of footballs. We call them ball hawks when we see a guy trying to strip a ball out. But we had a ton of attempts on the ball at doing that, which is great. And so we're encouraged. We're going to get a lot of those takeaways during the course of the year because our guys are really dialed into it, and it's been an emphasis for us. So we're going to get those. And unfortunately, like you said, a couple of them didn't bounce our way. Hopefully moving forward, some more of those will. But yeah, we had opportunities. I think to get some of those and turn them over one time down in the red zone and just didn't get anything out of it. And so, kind of like the offense wasn't able to capitalize on some of their drives. We weren't able to capitalize on some of the times we got the ball out.
But the last for me is complementary football. I mean, when you do get a turnover, if the offense goes down and convert, it's very uplifting. But if you get a turnover and then the offense goes 3 and out and you're back on the field, it's deflating. Also, if the offense is finishing drives for touchdowns like the 1 and 5, can you talk about complimentary football and how much did that play a factor on Saturday?
Well, I think it probably did, but it shouldn't. The thing that we've got to do on defense is not worry about anything else. Really, to be honest, the score doesn't matter. What we're doing offensively, whether we're getting after people or we're not, shouldn't matter. I mean, we should play the same way all the time, regardless of who we're playing, regardless of what the score is, regardless of what point in the game, momentum. It should always be the same. And we got to that point, I thought, last year where we kind of gotten over some of that stuff. And so we can't let the ebbs and flow of the game affect us on defense in the way that we play and the way that we attack. It's always got to be the same. And we talked about that on Monday. And so moving forward, we can't let things like that affect us. But yeah, I think it did. I think it certainly did. But it shouldn't. There are going to be times where we struggle on defense and the offense is having a great day and they're moving the football and scoring lots of points and maybe a high scoring game. There's going to be days that, we're playing well on defense and offensively we're struggling, but we can't let that affect the way that we play.
John Kelly, tough kid who's really worked over his career to battle to the point where he can be a contributor now. What does it mean to coach a player like that that's really earned his keep playing in his senior year?
Yeah, he's a real joy to coach. You love having guys like that. He's been around here. He's been on the scout team. He's been a backup for most of his career. And so any opportunity that he gets, he certainly appreciates it and makes the most of it. And, I think our guys have a ton of respect for him. I know our coaching staff does. And just he's a lot like Jamal Glenn talked about last week. He's a guy that just things didn't go his way. And you can respond one of two ways. And the way he responded was positive and kept working. And the thing I love about John is that he tries to make everybody else around him better, including the guys at his position that may be playing in front of him or that have played in front of him in the past. And so I think he's an exceptional person and wish we had more guys just like him.
Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Phil Bergman.
Coach, Air Force with the turnbacks this year, how'd you scout against a team who has a completely different roster basically from last year?
Yeah, I think the majority of those turnbacks, and I can be mistaken, are on the defensive side of the football, in large part. I mean, really all you can go off of now is just their first game and who's on the field and kind of cross-reference that with the roster and their depth from last year.
And then Air Force, they put up 28 points in that first half, 4 for 4 on touchdowns to start the game. Just what do you see out of tape from them?
Yeah, same thing you always see out of Air Force. Super well coached team, physical up front, really good skill. The quarterback's a very good player. He's had a year under his belt now, and so he's a little bit of an experienced quarterback now that they have there at the trigger, which is always good. You run the option, but they got some certainly some weapons at A back and B back, and the tight ends are a really, really good player that you always have to be aware of, and they've got a couple of wideouts that are good players as well. So they're just a good all-around football team. I think they're extremely well coached. They always have an exceptional game plan versus us, and so I'm excited about the challenge. Looking forward to this game since we lost up there last year, and so I'm fired up about it. Our players are too.
And lastly, for me, just what does this rivalry between Air Force and Navy mean to you?
It's huge. It's CIC week, and this game is just as important to me as the Army game is. I want to win this one just as bad. And they got after our tails last year pretty good. That left a pretty bad taste in my mouth and our players' mouths. And so, this is as big as it gets for us.
Thank you.
Kareem Copeland.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Kareem.
I just got a quickie for you. You touched on a lot of, the things that you're frustrated with outside of, getting your hands on some balls. A couple of things that you were particularly happy with?
Particularly happy with? I'd say no.
Or that kind of game, I guess.
Yeah. Now, there were some bright spots. We've got some guys that, a guy like Mitch West plays with that fanatical effort that we talk about. He flew all over the place. Mikey McMorris, who had been nursing a hamstring and wasn't in great shape going into the game. I thought, he competed and flew around, made some plays. Kevin Brennan is always solid as he can be. I thought Busick for his first start did some really, really nice things. I think his future here is extremely bright. You saw Clay Cromwell get in there a couple of times playing his first meaningful snaps. Put pressure. I think he pressured the quarterback 3 times when he was in there from the nose position. He's a big, strong, talented kid that's going to keep getting better and better. Those are a few bright spots for me, Kareem. But they're always hard to find when you give up 49 points. If I'm being completely honest.
Thought about that.
Yeah.
And just one last one. How's the vibe? Are guys able to kind of move past that pretty quickly and get refocused, I suppose?
I think so. They seem to be. I mean, it's tough for us as coaches too. I mean, but you got to flush it down the toilet after a day, and if you're in this profession for the right reasons and you're a competitor, it eats you up when you lose a game like that. It does. And I'd be lying if I said it didn't eat me up. And so, but you got to move on and make corrections and get ready for the next one. You can't let Marshall beat us twice. Right. And so, I think we've got some great leadership here. I think defensively, they understand, they saw the same things that we did. And it's been talked about, it's been communicated. We know what we got to do moving forward. And that's not going to ruin our season. It's not going to define who we are. Certainly not going to define who I am as a coach and how I'm going to approach the rest of the thing. But kind of give it a day, 24 hours to sulk and feel sorry for yourself, figure out what you got to do better, and then you move on, you fix it, and that's life, right? And if you've been in this business long enough, everybody's had those kind of games, and I hate them. I do, but there's always something you learn from them, and what we got to do is that's got to make us a better football team moving forward. I'd rather have a loss like that earlier in the year than later in the year, and so hopefully we've gotten that out of the way.
Well, just talk a little bit about Air Force. I guess number one, you faced them now. How do you see their option as being different than Navy's option? It's not quite the same, a lot of the same principles, but they do a lot of window dressing with motions and whatnot. They use a tight end. Can you just talk a little bit about how the Air Force option differs from that of Navy?
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it. I mean, it's a lot of formations, a lot of motion, a lot of shifting. Use a tight end, a really good tight end, a lot of different ways. They can line him up, attach to the set, and create 3-man surfaces. They can flex him out as a wide out. They can get into 31 personnel sets as well as 30 personnel sets with the tight end, and so that's problematic. They're a mix of option and old school, like 2-back run game. They'll line up and they'll run power. But I think they do an exceptional job of figuring out what you're doing, and they have a menu of things they go to and try to capitalize on the looks that you're giving them. And I think he's an exceptional play caller during the course of the game, as far as just making adjustments and attacking what it is you're doing. So very good, and like I said, good mix of option and 2-back run. And then they'll spread you out and do some things too. So.
And as far as some individual skill players, Daniels, you saw him last year. He's a good-looking player, and that was his first career start last year. And now he's got 7 starts under his belt and seemed to play pretty good quarterback. And then the fullback is a nice player. You saw him last year. He had 100 yards. And then they've been talking about this Cormier receiver for a long time, and that he's got a lot of talent. I haven't seen a lot of him, but I think he is a threat. And then I don't know how much the tight end is a threat down the field, but if you could just maybe talk a little about some of the skill position players you're seeing.
Yeah, well, I think the tight end certainly is a threat down the field. He's a big target, has really good hands. And number 7, the wide receiver, I didn't know much about him last year, but you see a couple of catches and grabs he made this year, and he's a bigger, taller receiver. He certainly scares me. And the quarterback can throw it. When he's got time to sit back there, I mean, he can put it on a rope. And he's obviously an effective runner too. So I think he's a really good player. I think he gives them what they want, running the football and throwing it. And then they've got some people to throw it to, which sometimes option teams don't have that, but they certainly do.
Tell us your thoughts coming off of a tough loss. And, we just talked to Coach Jasper, and we all know about not finishing, got to finish in the red zone. That would have made things a lot different. But some positives, some decent yardage numbers, time of possession, etc. Just tell us your thoughts on what the offense has to do to show Navy football moving forward.
Yeah, for me personally, I feel a lot better with where we are, after game one this year compared to last year. Obviously, the results are pretty much the same. But if you look at the stats, like you say, we put up some numbers that are very in line with Navy football. Hold the ball for 2/3 of the game, 400 all-purpose yards, right? That's who we are as a team. And I talked to Coach yesterday at practice. I told him, our emphasis this week has to be finishing, has to finish plays, finish drives. If you get in the red zone 6 times, we have to have 6 touchdowns. We play really good teams, really good offenses. We have to finish every time in order to give ourselves a chance to win. So, that's where we are right now. I feel better with where we are, week 2 this year compared to last year.
We just spoke to Coach Jasper, and he was complimentary of the offensive line. He thought they bowed their necks and kind of got after it. We had heard some good things about the line, and I think based off the rushing yards, it appears promising. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Anytime that you kind of put up 2019 numbers rushing, with that, how elite that offensive line was, I think you're in a good spot. So excited with those guys. I know they could, what they had in store, and they're all going to grow and get better from here on out.
I'll leave the quarterback questions to my friend Kareem.
Kareem, go ahead.
I was actually not gonna. I was good because I gotta hop off here in a second. But I will ask, just kind of, you just mentioned it yourself. All the numbers were there except for finishing. So what is the biggest difference in that? I've been talked a little bit about having to dial in a little bit more mentally when you get down there, being even executing even more. I'm just curious from your perspective. What's that mentality, or how does that mentality have to change, or how do you it's easy to say, hey, we got to finish. How do you actually do so physically?
Right. No, absolutely. It's 100% a mindset. It's 100% an approach in practice, and I told the A-backs, it starts with myself. I got to, when it's time to finish, I got to be the guy out front, with a grittier mindset, more intensity, being a little more tenacious. I've got to be that guy leading from the front. And, I think it starts with me offensively, letting guys know, hey, this right here, this play is a finish play. This period is all about finishing. This period is all about, being strong and finishing through the line. So I think it starts with me offensively. That's something that I'm really going to focus on this week is, make sure that we're all on the same page when it comes down to, the red zone. Hey, we got one goal, and that's to put all 11 of our feet, all 11 guys, their feet in the end zone. So that's the goal.
Quick and easy for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go to Phil Bergman.
Chance, just big picture on the game, to be playing Air Force on the 20th anniversary of September 11th. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great honor. As with anything really has been at this school, has been an honor. But to play another academy on such an important day in our nation's history is going to be something that that we'll remember and cherish for forever. I've said this before. We're enemies on the field. We want to get after each other for 60 minutes, but at the end of the day, both teams, all 3 teams know kind of what our goal is, what our end goal is, and to serve and protect this country. So hopefully that this game is a symbolism towards that. But we're gonna get out those guys for 60 minutes.
And you were a baby when 9/11 happened. I'm guessing 1 or 2. I'm guessing you didn't remember anything, but what were you told about it, and just what does it mean to now be at the Naval Academy for this?
Right. Like I said, I was very, very young. Have no recollection of the event, but there are guys on this team that were impacted by it. There are guys that that I have family friends with that are impacted by the event. So just being around those people, and then growing up, like having such a sense of pride in our country, in our nation, has kind of led me to the spot I am today. So just going out there and playing for those that given their lives, lost their lives, and sacrificed for our country is going to be a really big deal for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Scott Wyckoff.
James, what does it mean when the B-backs, Isaac and James, have a game like they did on Saturday where they can go together like that and gain big yardage. How does that play to you guys as the B-backs, as the A-backs?
Absolutely. It means a lot, as you see in 2019 when we were able to do it with Jamel so freely and so willingly, it kind of opened up the game for everybody else, because at that point you got to start putting people in the box. Defenses have got to start bringing the linebackers down. The safety's got to be, come more, fitting in on the run. And that just allows us, the quarterbacks get the ball to us on the perimeter, and that just opens up space for us so much more. So, I knew those two guys, would be able to get after it. But seeing them two put it together in game, it means a lot for us going forward, because now defenses got to plan for, okay, hey, these guys can really fit it up inside. Now we got to start putting more people in the box, and that just allows the offense to spread it out some more.
You always know at the Naval Academy that you're going to have a national televised game for the Army game and, of course, the Notre Dame game. What kind of honor does it mean to you to have another one of these nationally televised games that you're able to play in on such a historic day?
Right. I think, any game, any opportunity to play in front of people on television is a blessing. But with this magnitude is, something that we haven't really experienced yet. Obviously, the 20th anniversary of 9/11 is going to be such a big event. So many people are going to be watching, kind of see what the nation's leaders have in store. Right. So just being able to put it out there for 60 minutes, against the Zoomies is going to be really big for us. We're looking forward to it. We're excited.
And is that part of the whole thing of being a Naval Academy, part of the brigade, and also a football player, when you walk into the stadium, seeing the different names of the different battles that that those that come before you have battled in?
Yeah, it's a big deal. Like I said, when you have such a great sense of pride for this country, and your foundation is based upon battles and places that people lost their lives, serving and defending our country, it means that much more to you. You don't want to. It's almost like a sense of you don't want to let those people down. So having the Air Force coming here, for this game, playing our home turf is going to be huge for us.
Thanks a lot. Good luck Saturday.
Thank you.
All right, we'll make one more trip around. Wags, you have anything? He might be off to Troy Calhoun's. Are you there?
I'll ask one more question. Chance, the defense bore a lot of the response. They're accepting responsibility for what happened. But do you think that if the offense finishes more, capitalizes on turnovers, maybe you uplift the defense? It's complementary football is kind of an important thing in the game.
Absolutely. I said this to somebody earlier. It doesn't matter if we have the ball for 40 minutes of the game. It doesn't matter. We can rush for 500 yards in one game. If we don't score touchdowns, we're not going to win. Right. And then they come out here in our first series, we punt and we get the punt blocked. They go up 14-0 very, very early. It doesn't matter, how good you are as a team. That's hard to come back from. 14-0 very quick in the game. It's hard to come back from. So we just got to be perfect in our craft, right? We're not pointing blame. The defense isn't pointing blame at us. We've got to do what we got to do on offense, and that is take care of the ball for 40 minutes and rush for 350. But we also have to score and kind of alleviate some of that pressure and stress from the defense.
The alternate jerseys, when you get to wear a different jersey, do you enjoy it? Does it get the team a little more excited prior to the game? Or are you a guy that doesn't really care what you're wearing?
No, absolutely. I definitely think it gets the team more excited. Just like an extra bit of cloth we get to put our name on. But at the end of the day, I don't think it makes you perform any better. So, we're going to treat it the same. We're going to treat practice leading up to the game the same. Be dialed in every day. But when Saturday comes and we get to be there for us in some new uniforms and keep those after the game, it's gonna be a cool deal.